All right, today Jack Dorsey may be crying foul, but let's take a look at all the other violations, alleged violations, which were conducted by Twitter when Jack Dorsey had fallen in trouble in the past. Now, of course, we've collated all the data for our viewers. This was the first an FIR in Ghaziabad. This was against Twitter and also against Twitter India and also others. So this is right. And that, of course, is the first charge against, or rather the first FIR which was filed against Twitter. This is under Jack Dorsey, remember viewers. And what was the charge? The charge was that they shared a video of a man's assault in Loni. Now, that was the charge, and on that charge, an FIR had been filed. Also, of course, let's take a look at, of course, the other, examples of really how Jack Dorsey had fallen in trouble. Okay, we'll take a look at, other examples as well. Meanwhile, we have some big breaking news coming in. Let's shift our focus to that. All right, now, as far as Jack Dorsey is concerned, we were telling you earlier that he may be attacking the center, he may be attacking the government, but today it looks like that Jack Dorsey himself has a lot to answer. Now, first of all, taking our viewers through what exactly the controversy is. Now, Jack Dorsey claims that under the Modi government, he was asked, or the Twitter back then was asked to remove a lot of anti-government content. That was mostly when the farmers' protest was underway. The opposition, obviously, and as one would expect, has latched on to the same, and they have launched an attack against the government. But as far as the government is concerned, they have, of course, rebutted Jack Dorsey's comments and his allegations. But when we speak of Jack Dorsey, he isn't being called out for his selective bias just in India. Jack Dorsey has fallen in trouble earlier as well in the US also. Listen in to American Senator Ted Cruz call out Dorsey's hypocrisy on free speech.
I have long been concerned about Twitter's pattern of censoring and silencing individual Americans with whom Twitter disagrees. But 2 weeks ago, Twitter, and to a lesser extent Facebook, crossed a threshold that is fundamental in our country. Twitter made the unilateral decision to censor the New York Post in a series of 2 blockbuster articles, both alleging evidence of corruption against Joe Biden, the first concerning Ukraine, the second concerning communist China. And Twitter made the decision, number one, to prevent users, any user, from sharing those stories. And number two, you went even further and blocked the New York Post from sharing on Twitter its own reporting. Why did Twitter make the decision to censor the New York Post? You can censor Politico. Presumably you can censor the New York Times or any other media outlet. Mr. Dorsey, who the hell elected you and put you in charge of what the media are allowed to report and what the American people are allowed to hear? And why do you persist in behaving as a Democratic super PAC, silencing views to the contrary of your political beliefs?
We're not doing that. And this is why I opened this hearing with calls for more transparency. We realize we need to earn trust more. We realize that more accountability is needed to show our intentions and to show the outcomes.
Thank you, Senator.
So I hear the concerns and acknowledge them, but we want to fix it with more transparency.
So it isn't just India, abroad as well. Accountability questions have been raised as far as Jack Dorsey and Twitter under him is concerned. Let's take you through a few examples, starting with Japan. Now, when it comes to Japan, Japan's apex court had asked and sought details of retweeters. In fact, the action, what was the action taken? Let's take a look. Twitter forced, apparently, and they were forced to share all the details. Moving on to Turkey, when we speak of Turkey, Twitter back then was forced to set up legal entity to continue its operations. The action, the government basically had slapped and had, and they had, of course, banned the platform till compliance. That was the action which was taken far as Turkey is concerned. Japan and Turkey. Also in Turkey, Jack Dorsey was asked accountable, or rather to fix accountability, said accountable if flagged content not removed in 48 hours. That's exactly what was said. Also, when we move on to Russia, what happened in Russia? Twitter, Facebook were told to open databases in Russia by July. The action followed was that the government had warned of $245 and also that it was rather a $245 and a million fine fine which was put on non-compliance by July. That was the action as far as other countries are concerned. But what of India? India, the action which Twitter had faced, Twitter basically had lost legal immunity as far as an intermediary is concerned. The government had said, no, you can't just shirk off responsibility saying that you are an intermediary. The action which was followed, so far what we do know is that one FIR has been lodged. You also have a complaint for manipulating the media. That was the action taken against Twitter as far as India is concerned. So when we speak of Twitter, accountability has been an issue which has been seen in multiple countries. In fact, breaking news coming in related to the same. Dorsey basically is once again lecturing on democracy, and the Congress seems to be backing Jack Dorsey as one would expect. We have a reaction coming in. The Congress, of course, has put out a tweet also, and they have, as one would expect, hurled the dictator jibe at the ruling dispensation. All right. And that's the reaction coming in from the Congress's side. And if I take you verbatim through the tweet put up by Congress says, Tanashah ek darpok aadmi hota hai. Obvious an attack on the Prime Minister, saying that calling him a despot, calling him a despot, saying that democracy is being stifled under him. That's a reaction coming in from the side of the Congress party.